Hello everyone and welcome to E2 School. Today you're with me, my name is Kay and we're going to go through one of the level 2 classes. Today's topic is all about healthy eating and our grammar that we're going to look at today is quantifiers. So if you're not sure about those, just stay with us and when we get to the grammar section, we'll go through that in a bit more detail. So welcome to everyone. It's nice to see the hellos in the chat box already. So hello to everyone there. Now let's start by checking a few things. So let's start with my technology. Let's see if my technology is working for everyone. So my first question for you all is, can you hear me? So if you can hear me in the chat box at the bottom of the screen, just type yes if you can hear me. And my second question is, can you see my screen? Excellent. This is great to know that it's working. So that means we can now look at your technology. So what we're doing when we're looking at your technology is the chat box. So you've already used that. But for anyone who's new, let's go through how we use the chat box. So what do we use it for? Well, every time I ask you a question, I just want you to type your answer in the chat box. So that's that button at the bottom of the screen. Now, you don't need to worry about using the other two buttons of raise hand or Q&A. Don't worry about those. If you have a question for me, I also want you to put it in the chat box. So all things go in the chat box. Now, I will try and answer all the questions, but sometimes I won't be able to answer it straight away. So just wait. I do see your questions and I will get to it. The other option, though, that I'd like to talk about is this bit here at the bottom of the chat box. So what this is it's showing us who will see what you write. Now, if you choose the first one, this is all panelists. This means me, the teacher. I'm the only one who sees it, so it's a private message. But if you choose all panelists and attendees, then this means me, the teacher, and all the students. Now, this is the setting I would like everyone to choose, because then when you type your sentences, everyone can see your questions and your ideas, and we can talk about them all together. So if you don't share it with everyone, I won't be talking about it with everyone. So please, please, please try and share it with all panelists and attendees. Okay, now for anyone on YouTube, you don't get access to this chat box, but you do have your own chat box with the live chat in YouTube. So just type your questions in there. Now, also, I love it when students help each other out. So this is where I love it, where you guys can be more like a real class. So if you see someone else's question and you can answer it, please do. Please help each other. I will still read the comments and confirm or deny. So if it's right or wrong, I'll tell you. But don't worry, it's always good if you guys can help each other too. So the next thing I'd like to just remind everyone about is our Facebook group. So at the end of the class, I'm going to share a link in the chat box to our Facebook page where we have a group for just level 2. So E2 School level 2. In here, the idea is you guys can add your own messages and answer questions and maybe try writing some different sentences. You can even upload a video if you want as well. If you want to find someone to practice speaking or writing and practice your English with, you might be able to find someone in that group. Okay, so let's have a look at the school. Now, for everyone who is on YouTube, what I would recommend is that you come and join us on E2 School on the website, e2school.com, and you'll be able to access all of what we're looking at today fully. Now, what we are doing today is the level 2 class. So this is our intermediate course. Now, if you feel like you want some extra things, I am going to suggest everyone does the top 2 courses as well. So this is Speaking Lab and the grammar review. Now, the Speaking Lab isn't free. You can try a little bit of it for free, but I would recommend upgrading, because this way you can work on your pronunciation and your listening as well for individual sounds in English. If you're looking at grammar for today, though, I would recommend the grammar review as an extra program. This one is completely free, so you can add this to your account at any time. Now, today we are looking at quantifiers. So this means that you can also go and review these in your grammar review. There's a whole section there. So let me just have a look at some of the comments I've got before we continue. Okay, so Samsung Galaxy phone, can I get you to go to participants and change your name so that I know what I should be calling you? And what do you mean by you registered but didn't find the link? Can you give me a bit more information about that? Maputi. Okay. Well, Maputi, you can actually change your name yourself. If you go to your participants, you can actually change that yourself, but I will change that right now. So MAP, oops. I hope I spelled it correctly, but there you go. That should be now much better, that you should be now showing up as Maputi. If you're talking about the live class link, it's because we shouldn't need to register. Oh no, this will be from tomorrow. For October, you shouldn't need to register. We've tried to change the settings to make it a little bit easier. There should be just a button that you push to open the class. It shouldn't be that. So how did you join the class? Did Prince share the link with you? Is that how you got in today, Maputi? What I might get you guys to do, Maputi, can I get you to send us a message? Either go to messages and send it to admin, or send it to me, Kayleen, and can you share like a photo of what you had when you had problems getting into the webinar today? Because I'm not sure what you were seeing to know what the problem was, and that way we can fix it. However, there is something I wanted to remind for everyone else, that this week, so Friday is the last one. That should be the normal process. But next week, be very, very careful, because the time is changing. So in Melbourne on the weekend, our clocks move. It's called daylight savings. So all of the classes are still the same in my Melbourne time, but they might be different in your time zone. So please make sure that A, you check your time zone for your account, and B, that you are looking at the time, and it might be 1 hour different depending on where you are. So that could be the problem. So please make sure you check that. And I'm not sure what's happening with the re-registered. You should be getting an email from Zoom anyway when you've registered, so that you should be able to click on the link in the Zoom email when that comes through. But other than that, I'm not sure what's happening here. So this is something we're going to have to investigate, and I don't want to spend all of our class talking about that. So yes. And Darren is just saying, if you guys are using the Zoom app, the meeting ID is automatically saved, but sometimes that ID is changed. Yes, that is true. So sometimes the classes, like each month, the classes are re-added. And I have a feeling that because today is the last day of September, that the classes were all added up till Monday. And then this is the new month's registration. So there might have been a new link. So that could be what you need to check. So make sure you check your ID. You can't just go with what's already pre-saved. Okay, so hopefully that answers everything about getting into class. If you're still having problems, please send us a message in your course and send it to admin. They'll be able to help you. Okay, so as we said, let's start the class. Now, I just want to remind everyone about the other part, which is, hold on one second. So when we're looking at the whole school, we're looking at E2 school. Now, if you have any test prep questions, please go over to e2language.com. So that's just for anyone who wants IELTS help or something like that. Now, today, what we're going to do is focus on sport, and we're looking at the lesson of healthy eating. So this is lesson number 1. We did part A on Monday, so if you missed that, please go and watch that video in the live class library. Today, we're looking at part 2, which is all about the writing and the speaking activities. So let's begin today's lesson. Okay, whew, that looks really, really tasty. And I think quite healthy. Hopefully everyone agrees. Do you think this food looks healthy? Is that food that you would normally get in your country? So today, I don't want to list all the food that you see in the picture. I want to just focus on the food that you see in this picture that you eat. So what I want you to do is in the chat box, I want you to type the food in this picture that you eat. What food do you know because you eat that normally? So when I look at this picture, I eat some of this food normally, but I don't eat all of this food normally because some of this food is not available in my normal supermarket or in my country even. Sometimes it depends on what is available for what is grown. So for me, I definitely get that fish, and good work on everyone who has called it salmon. So that is the perfect word for it. I think it's probably salmon, or it could be another variety like that. Now be careful about the spelling and pronunciation. Salmon has an L in it, but you don't say the L. So it's salmon. But yes, salmon is a fish that I definitely eat, and I would eat the vegetables in that picture like broccoli and snow peas. Oh, and of course the onions. I would definitely eat those. Oh, and we definitely get garlic and tomatoes. So we could make a salad and use the tomatoes and the lettuce. I could even put the avocado in the salad. That would be good, very, very normal for me. But I don't eat almonds because my boyfriend can't eat those. He is allergic. So I make sure there are no almonds in my house because it's not a very safe nut for my boyfriend. Does anyone have something like that? Is there something in the picture that you are allergic to? So let me go through some of the things everyone has told me about. So it looks like lots of people eat the almonds, so you guys are lucky. Lots of people eat salmon and vegetables and the rice, definitely, and salads like lettuce, tomatoes, and avocados. Ooh, Saritha has a nice word there. Now I want you guys to go back up to Saritha's comment. She has added the word quinoa. Now, this is a really, really crazy word because the spelling and the pronunciation are very different. So quinoa is spelt perfectly by Saritha. She has spelt it with the Q spelling. So I'll just add that to the chat box again. But the pronunciation, it sounds like a K. So quinoa. And there's a W in there, and I'm not sure where that comes from. Again, I think it's because this word is not traditionally an English word and we are saying it the way it was in that language, but I don't know where it comes from. So going on, it looks like all the normal ones. Oh, and we have an extra nut. Sudha is telling us about the big, big nut, that one that is still in its shell. So you would have to crack the shell open first. That is a walnut. Yes, those are nice too. But I don't actually see peanuts there, like Maputi has said. So I'm sorry about that, but there's no peanuts in that picture. But peanuts are also something that you can get, like the almonds, already processed and ready to eat, or like the walnut, where you have to crack and open them, and then you can get your peanuts. So excellent. The only other one that I'm a little bit unsure about, and I guess it depends on what you think it is this vegetable here. For most of us, everyone has said the word lettuce. And I think my guess when I look at this looks a lot more like lettuce to me, not cabbage. So for me, I wouldn't call this cabbage. Now, the thing I would use is first go and look in Google, type cabbage in and have a look at the picture. Cabbage, I always find is a bit more round, not the oval shape that this one is. And it can be green and white like this, but I find that cabbage is not as strong a green color. And you can get cabbage that is a purplish color as well. So, but yes, have a look at the Google pictures and see if you can find lettuce and see if you can find cabbage. It will help you see what the differences are. Okay, let me have a look at the other words that we have. So for allergies, Prince says, not an allergy, but I am a vegetarian. Nice. Saritha is giving us another new word. Now, this one is slightly different in English for spelling. It's a pecan. So let me just add that to the chat for everyone. A pecan is another type of nut. It is not the one that you see in the picture, but it does look quite similar to the walnut. So that is a type of nut. You would still have to open the shell to get to it though. And let me see. Darren, I agree. I haven't had my lunch yet, so you're a little bit hungry. Well, today is probably not the best lesson. We're going to get even more hungry today. Okay, Prince has given us a great word, which is pulses. Now, pulses is a good category of nuts and seeds and things like that, but it's not traditionally rice. Again, I would probably do a Google search and check what they look like, because there's quite a few different ones that fall under that category. Musna is asking about the seeds. And again, I'm not sure. There are a couple of different options. Now, be careful when you say seed and when you say nut. They are two different things. So when I look at the almonds and the walnuts, these are nuts. If you're talking about seeds, it could be this one, but this also could be quinoa, or it could be couscous. Again, it's a little bit unclear, so you would have to check those ones, but you might be able to find those in your supermarket. So Maputi, you're saying I don't like rice. Does that mean you can eat it? You're not allergic, but you just don't like it? So I think that's definitely a different thing. Musna, good spelling on broccoli. And Rexy is asking about the purple thing next to the avocado. Good spelling of avocado. So avocado is that really dark brown black fruit vegetable. I think it's a bit of a debate as to whether avocado is a fruit or a vegetable, but above it, this purple and green vegetable, this is called an artichoke. So Sudha has the right spelling there. So have a look at Sudha's answer. Good work, Sudha. Maputi has added a little bit more information about rice. I don't like eating rice because it's starch. With this one, I would need to change the verb and say because it contains starch, or because it is made of starch, or something like that, or it is full of starch. But yes, I understand. And Musna, yes, I think this fish is salmon. If it is tuna, it's normally a bit more of a red color more than an orange color. But there are a couple of other fish that you might find that are this orange color. But the most common, most popular one I have seen in supermarkets is definitely salmon. So, and yes, Prasanna, many fishes in the sea, almost. Can anyone fix the grammar mistake about fish or fishes? Does anyone know the rule? Yes, you've got it. So fish is uncountable. So the idea is that you normally would not say fishes. If you're saying fishes, it is two categories that I've heard of. One, you are about 5 years old, you're a child, and it's very, very it's what we would call baby talk. So it's not your traditional option. And number two, the only other one I have heard of is in religion. Has anyone heard of the story in the Bible with Jesus? And he had some magic act with loaves and fishes. So that's the only time I've ever heard it used in plural. So if you're talking about that particular story, no problem. But other than that, modern English, nope, just use fish. So fish is uncountable. So excellent work on catching that. And I really like Baby C Karuthu. She, I'm not sure about your gender, sorry, has said School of Fish. And that's a really nice name for a group. Thank you very much. She has said it's the name of the group of fish when they're alive. So yes. Good work, everyone. So great work on your vocabulary. Now, remember that if you're looking at this picture, we won't expect you to know every word. And I think it depends on what you eat, what you like, what you know. And normally, if you talk about a picture like this, we would expect you to talk about what you know and maybe ask your partner questions about the food that you don't know. So this can be a really nice conversation then. So let's keep moving. We are going to look at the other things to do with speaking and writing. So today we want to look at all of this different vocabulary to do with food and then try and talk about food when we're focusing on recipes. What is a recipe? Does anyone know what this word means? The grammar we're looking at today is quantifiers, and these are very important when you use a recipe. Yes, that's it, Prasanna and Sudha. It's how to cook. It's the instructions for how to cook something. Perfect. So let's start the lesson and let's have a look at our first activity. And we are doing a reading activity, but this is something you'll find in the writing test. So if you want to do this yourself and get feedback, you will need to upgrade your package to the silver or gold package so that you can get writing feedback and do the writing tests. But if you just want to practice this on your own, you can do that as well. So we have set it up as a reading activity. So let's have a look at it. So this is a notice that you see on a sports website. What is the website? It is bodygym.com.au. So it's definitely something to do with gyms and sport. What you need to do is read and write something. Now, what is the thing that they want you to write? What is the type of writing? Is it an email? And good work, Prasanna. The .au means this is an Australian website. So I want you guys to read and type in the chat box, what type of thing are you needing to write? Excellent, Prasanna. The topic is about your diet, but what kind of thing? Do I want you to write an email? They use the word in the topic. Darren has got it. Araji, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Arji's got it. Muzna's got it. It is an article. So this is the word that we're looking for. And this is a very important thing to be able to read a topic and find the key words so that you know that you're doing the task correctly. So we're looking for you to write an article. Now, what is an article? And I think what an article is, you guys have already said, the topic is about diet. And what are you writing? It's, well, I guess it's a little bit like a blog. But it's something you might find in a blog or find in a magazine or maybe a newspaper. And so, yes, Baby C, I totally agree. What is the difference between an essay and an article? And they are not exactly the same. So, yeah, these are some good answers. Okay, so Prasanna says short information about something. Yes, but it doesn't have to be short. The number of words depends on what the instructions are. So for us in this one, we have instructions to write 100 words. So that's how big or how small it is. But the type of writing, definitely Arish has said it, Essays are more formal. Normally, an essay is something you would write in more like a university or a school situation. An article is much more often seen in a published place, so websites and magazines or newspapers. So, because of this, it can be quite a lot of there's a lot of variety with your style of writing. You can write a very formal one, but that would be more like a scientific article. But if you're writing for something like bodygym.com, it might be a professional topic, but it doesn't have to be a formal style of writing. It could be informal or maybe going for more of the neutral tone. So the idea is you're trying to make your reader feel like you're talking to them, so that you're trying to make the reader persuade the reader and make the reader agree with your opinion. So often an article, you are giving your own opinion. You could be telling me about some research, but you don't always have to. A lot of it is going to be your opinion. And yes, Prince, there are lots of articles about celebrities on the internet, but there are also scientific ones, like Maputi has said as well. So there's quite a lot of variety. So when we're looking at this, what we need to first decide is about who the reader is for working out what style of writing. So when I look at this, bodygym.com, who do you think the reader is? Should I write in a formal style? I like it. You guys have got it. No, formal is too much. An informal or a neutral style is much better because Musna's got it. We're going for health enthusiasts, people who love getting healthy, maybe like the gym, love their body, something like that. So we're looking for people who are interested in sport and health and their body. So we need to write so that we are writing to that person. That's your key. So I think that I wouldn't be writing in a formal way. Oh, that's a good idea as well. Maybe also the age of the people. We could be talking about younger generations, not the older generations. That's more likely. And Mapudi, you're right, semi-formal because you're giving tips on healthy food. And because you're giving tips, you don't have to be giving formal styles, which means you've got a lot of flexibility with the vocabulary and the grammar that you're using. Pretty much anything will work. So let's look at more of the things that we have to add into the article. Now, the other thing about an article and an essay is both of these have structure. An essay starts with a beginning, then you have the body, the main information, and then you have a conclusion. So there's 3 sections. The same would happen with an article. You start with your introduction, and the introduction should be general. Give me the main topic, basic information. And then we go more specific, and then we go more specific. You can give us a conclusion, but it doesn't have to be the same level of formality as an essay. So, what are we putting in this article? Well, we have to answer all 3 questions. If you don't answer all 3, you've missed your task. You haven't finished the task properly. So the questions are, what is your best healthy eating tip? Number 2, what kind of healthy food do you like to eat? And number 3, what food should you cut back on? Does everyone remember cut back on? So if you weren't in the class on Monday, can you give me your definition? What is cut back on? Nice. Reduce. That's the word. So what food should you reduce? So, or remove. Cut back on doesn't mean that you have to remove it completely, but it's a better to be saying reduce. So we're having less of it. And you guys have given me some really good examples about fat and sugar and fast food. Nice ideas. No problem. So I think number 3 is an easy question then. But my first question is, what order do you answer these questions? Which question, number 1, 2, or 3, would you start with? Because we're looking for the general information. So we're going for like a triangle shape. So we're going for general and then going more and more specific. And again, there is no wrong answer because it depends on how you answer each of these questions. So I see quite a lot of variety from what everyone's given me. Some people like the order of 1, 2, and 3, no problem. Some people would switch it and go for 3, 2, and then 1. Some people would go for 2, 3, and 1. Again, all of these work. For me, when I look at these topics, I think number 3 is the one I would leave till last because it is negative. You're telling me what you should not do. So take away food. This is a bit negative. So it's a lot easier to start an article with a positive idea and a general idea, and then finish with a more specific idea. So the negative, what you cut back on. But number 1 and number 2, they're both pretty good. I think you could definitely start talking about healthy food in general, and that my favorite is, and name something, and then talk about a healthy eating tip as a next paragraph. Or you could switch it around. Your general healthy tips, and then a specific tip, or maybe even just a specific tip, and then your next paragraph about the healthy food that you eat. So again, both would work, and it depends on how you answer these questions. So I think Prasanna has given us a sentence. Which question does Prasanna's sentence answer? Number 1, 2, or 3? So Prasanna has said, people all around the world would like to have healthy food to keep their appearance good. So is that going to be answering question 1, 2, or 3? Yeah, I agree with you guys. It is general, like Prasanna said, and it's not specifically about one of those questions exactly, but it's a really nice general way to introduce one of those questions. And I think question number 1 is a great way to start it. So if we said people all around the world would like to have healthy food to keep their appearance good, I would actually probably change a couple of the words. I would say people all around the world like to have, so I don't need would, like to eat healthy food. And I might even increase it in order to keep, in order to improve their appearance, in order to keep their appearance. Good doesn't really work because we're looking at more like an adjective, an adverb needed, to keep their appearance as pleasing. It's a really strange idea. So I'd probably talk about improving their appearance. And then I would go on to talk about my best healthy eating tip is blah, 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 blah. And that's a really nice way to introduce it. So good work, Prasanna. And this is where you don't have to just answer these 3 questions. You can add more information. So what I want you guys to do is type a sentence for me. So since we've already got number 1, and everyone already had ideas on number 3, I want to know about question number 2. So what I want you to do is answer question number 2. So this is, what kind of healthy food do you like to eat? So don't forget to write it in a full sentence, maybe even 2 sentences. You might need more information so that we can understand what your answer is. Don't forget that the reader does not read these questions. So you have to answer the question and add it into your answer. So I'm going to turn off my camera and give you guys a minute or 2. I want you to type your own answer to that question. Make sure you put it in shared with everyone. So that is all panelists and attendees. And I'm going to then choose some of these so we can look at them all together. Okay, let's go through some of these together. Sorry about the formatting, it's gone a little bit strange. The commas should obviously be down the other end of those sentences, but hopefully that will give everyone a bit of an idea. So the question is, what kind of food do you like to eat? So let's have a look at number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So let's start at the top. What do you guys think? Is this a good sentence or should we make some changes? What do you guys think? Sentence number 1. Okay, let's look at the grammar. So yes, there's some pretty good ideas here. And I agree that in general, it is pretty clear. And that's the key thing here. It's pretty clear, which means the reader will understand. That's your first tick. Yay. But there are a couple of things we can improve. So fruits and vegetables. What is wrong? Which one is countable? That's the one. Fruit is countable. So you cannot have an S. Take away the S. Fruit and vegetables. Vegetables is fine. That is plural. Good for, and we need a word in here. What word goes in there? Yes, for a healthy life. Why do we want a and not the? So we need a because it is one life and it's one life in general. So it's not a specific life, it's general life. So first time you're talking about it, general. So a healthy life is what we need. Musna wants to know why Musna wants to know why can this not be fruits? Because exactly what Prince said, fruit is uncountable. It is an uncountable noun. So normally you talk about fruit. Again, it's very, very old fashioned, a little bit like fishes. If you ever see someone say fruits, there are a couple of really specific phrases where I've seen fruits, but I would say in general, don't do it. Much, much better if you get rid of it. So for this phrase, it's always fruit and vegetables. Vegetables are countable. So good work there. So fruit and vegetables are good for a healthy life. Nice full stop, nice opening sentence. Good healthy food, no problem, because food is uncountable. So we can talk about this idea of many food, no problem, such as lettuce, comma, tomatoes, comma, fish, onion. We need another comma here after onion. Actually, we don't need a comma. We need to add a word. What word do we need to add between onion and broccoli? And yes, so don't forget that when you're giving me a list of food or a list of something, that between the last two items in the list, we have to put and. The comma that Musna's just done is optional. It's called an Oxford comma, and there are arguments for it and against it. At most people, at the end of the day, it's flexible. You can choose. Think of it as optional, but you must have the and. It doesn't make sense without it. There is one more comma that I do need for this sentence though. Can anyone tell me where we need another comma? And we need to add the word as well for a healthy life and mental health. No problem. So there's one more comma needed, and it is after food and before such. So the phrase such as, you need a comma before it. Such as means for example. So if you're adding an example, think of this as something that you can take away from the sentence. So you need this comma to show that the next piece of information is optional. So if I read this sentence without the example, it would be good, healthy food is excellent for a healthy life and mental health. So good, healthy food such as lettuce, tomatoes, fish, onion and broccoli. Onions, this one's both a bit flexible, are excellent for a healthy life and mental health. No problem. Great sentence. So now this sentence is what we're looking for. That is now good. Good work. Okay, number 2. What do you think about number 2? Oh, yes. And thank you very much, Sudha. I totally missed the spelling mistake. Yes, spelling of healthy is wrong in sentence 1. If you look at sentence 2, healthy is spelt correctly there. So this one has a spelling mistake there and a spelling mistake there. But this one, here, is what we are looking for. This one is correct. So healthy in sentence number 2 is right. Good work. And yes, I think it's probably a typing mistake. It's very easy to make that mistake. But yes, if you're doing it the other way, it would be healthily, and you would have to add another I in there, and that would make it the adverb. But let's look at number 2. Even though only a few types of healthy food attracts everyone's attention. Ooh, I've got a little bit of plural problems here. Which things do I need as plurals? I think we're looking at the verbs and the nouns. Are they matching? Yeah, you've got it, Prasanna. So my problem is when I look at these verbs, a few types of healthy food, what do we do with attract? Attract or attracts? So what I would say is if I look at the first part of the sentence up to food, would you change this into it or they? Single or plural? And so for me, I would say healthy food, it attracts, but a few types, this is my noun, so types, they attract. So this is the problem here, that you're needing to choose the right noun to match your sentence to. Sorry, hold on 1 second, having problems with my buttons. Ooh. Okay, let's try this again. Red, draw a line. So we take away the S from attract, and this is now fine. So even though only a few types of healthy food attract everyone's attention, and everyone's good apostrophe, salads, comma, I believe, are some of the most sought after healthy foods eaten in our country. Great sentence. So that is really, really good, complex punctuation you've got, and really nice extra phrases. So good work to whoever wrote that. You did a really good job. So you don't have to say, I believe. You could take that out. You could say, salads are some of the most sought after healthy foods eaten in our country. That would be fine. But by adding in, I believe, that's a really nice technique to make it sound like it's your opinion. So good work. Okay, number 3. What do you guys think? Oh, and stomach has moved across the sentence, that's my formatting. So don't worry, that is meant to be one word. I agree with you, Prince. It's sentence number 2 is a great sentence, but sentence number 3 is pretty good too. There is something I need to add here. And here. So what do you guys think we need in the first spot and the second spot? Oh yes, the comma should be next to salad, but that's just because of the formatting on the screen. So don't worry about the fact that this comma and this comma have moved. It's the same with stomach. The CH has moved because the box wasn't big enough. So don't worry, on the stomach, like Musna has spelt it, is what it was. And yes, Musna, you've got the word that we're looking for. We need the. Why do we need the before stomach? Yes, it's a specific body part, a specific organ. And it might be the first time we're talking about it, but because it's a specific thing and it's the specific thing that we think everyone understands we are talking about, like it's obvious, then this is the reason why I can jump straight to the. So it's lighter on the stomach and can be used to prepare delicious recipes. So all I'm missing to finish this off is a full stop. Don't forget your full stops. And so the same for sentence number 4. We need a full stop there. Okay, so that means that sentence number 3 is great as well. So one word we needed to add. Now let's look at number 4. Nice work. So we need to add a word here and there. Okay, so we've got a couple of words missing and something else I need to fix. So yes, you guys have worked out the words. So the words we're missing are a vegetarian, I am a vegetarian, so I like to. That's the one we have missing for the second spot. I like to have. So after like, you must have to with the verb. So I like to do, I like to eat, I like to have. Some healthy green. What is the problem with this word? That's the one, Sutta, spelling. And we need this as plural. So this one should be vegetables, even though we don't pronounce them all. So vegetables, you make it much faster, and we drop a lot of the letters that are vowels. So vegetables, but the spelling is vegetables. So don't forget the E and the A there. And I've got one more problem. Can I use as well and so together in the one sentence? No, it's weird, isn't it? It's actually really confusing for the reader. So you have a couple of ways we can fix it. Removing it would definitely be a good option. You could make it 2 sentences and you can add a different connecting word as well. So I think the question I have is, which is more important? Do you want to focus on the idea of as well, extra, or do you want to focus on the so, the cause and effect? So for me, when I read the sentence, I don't think the as well is as important as so. So if I follow your suggestions of remove as well, this makes much more sense. I am a vegetarian, so I like to have some healthy green vegetables and fruit so that I can stay physically and mentally fit and fine. So this is much, much clearer by just removing the as well. Much, much better. If you want to do the as well, I would probably say put a full stop. This is so that I can stay physically and mentally fit and fine. You could do a whole new sentence. Yes, nice phrase, Prasanna. Because of that, I would probably say because of this, probably because it's two different things. But again, you can change it around a little bit. But in this sentence, the as well isn't actually improving the idea for the reader. It's actually making it more complicated for the reader. So the easiest option is remove. But yes, you can use alternatives to so. That is fine. Baby C is giving me the semicolon. Woohoo! Yes, you can. That is a great use of punctuation. But most people hate them. They're scared of them. They use them, they don't know how to use them. So they might use them wrong. So if you're using it correctly, great, go for it. But if you can't use it correctly, I would avoid it. Use a full stop and a different linker. So much clearer. In this situation, normally the semicolon means therefore. So if I'm looking for this sentence, can I use the word? So if I look at this sentence, can I use the word therefore? Yes. So and therefore are very similar. So that one's okay. So good work, everyone. You guys have done some really good work in your sentences here. So let's go back to the lesson and let me show you what I want you guys to do from the rest of the activity. So what you'll find is if you come back to our activity, we have written an article for you. And what I want you guys to do is come back and read our article and look at the structure. So have a look. We've got 4 paragraphs. My 4th paragraph is my conclusion. My 1st paragraph is my introduction. Does it fit? Have a look at the structure. The second thing I want you to do is look for quantifiers and you need to highlight them. So highlight, you click on the words. If you think, oh, no, I got the wrong word, just click on the word again and it will unhighlight. When you've got all of them, you then push submit. Now, this is the grammar that we're looking at, and I have pretty much just run out of time because we've been looking at all of the writing. So I just want to summarize quantifiers really, really quickly. And so that's what we've got on the next page. So, okay, so what we're looking at is quantifiers are our words that tell us how much or how many of something we have. So when we use this, we have to make sure we use the right quantifier with the right word type. So our first category is that we're looking at a noun. The quantifier must go before a noun. Then we need to look at the noun and is the noun countable or uncountable? If it is countable, we can use words like many. If it is uncountable, we use words like much. So if you're not familiar with these, please, please, please check and make sure you learn these. The group that we would use for countable are words like many, so many, too many, a few, or a little. A few or few. Now, these are always plural and countable. You can't use it for a single countable noun. But for uncountable, you have the group of much, so much, too much, a little, and little. So the negatives. When we use a negative, we use the word any with the not. So you add not to the verb I don't, and then I have any. I don't have any. There isn't any. So it's the same for both countable and uncountable. There are a couple of different ways to say things though. So make sure you come back and look at all of these in the list to learn them all. If you're not sure, you do need to learn these ones. So if we're talking about positives, this is my group. And there's a different group of words we can use for plural countable versus uncountable. And then there's the lovely group, which is useful for both of them. So if you're not sure, I would use one of these phrases, these quantifiers, so that you can use it for any word, whether it's countable or uncountable. The same happens for negatives. So when we're doing negatives, it doesn't have to mean 0. It could be just that it's a very small amount or that there aren't any. So there's a few different options for countable, uncountable, and then there's the group that is good for both of those. And don't forget, for questions, you would ask how many for countable and how much for uncountable. So there are some special rules. Be careful about these. When we use a or don't use a, it changes the meaning. So if I use a, it makes it more positive. If I take away the a, it makes it more negative. So for example, I can say, I have a few apples. So yes, you can have one. Here you go. But if I say I have few apples, I'm actually meaning this is a negative. So I'm really sorry, I don't have enough apples to be able to share. No, you can't have one. The same happens when we're looking at uncountable, when we're looking at a little or very little. A makes it positive, without it, it's negative. So if we did that, it would be the same idea. I have a little time. Yes, positive, I am free to talk now. If I take away the it would be I have little time. So this means sorry, no, I am busy. I am not free to talk. The other special rule is think about some and any. When we use this with requests and offers, if you're asking a question, I only use some. Because you want a positive amount, which is some, you don't want a negative amount, which is any. So, can I have some water is good. Can I have any water is bad. If you're doing this, it would be negative. Do you have any water? Do we have any water? This means I think there is none. So this is that idea. Any means 0. If you're wanting a positive amount given to you, you have to use the word some. So let's review. Here is our list of words, and I'm going to put this in the Facebook chat to make sure you guys can talk about these in a bit more detail. I think if you don't know any of these quantifiers, make sure you learn the ones you don't, practice and try them out. If you know them all, great. Now make sure you get comfortable about which noun we're using it with. So make sure you've got the countable or uncountable noun right. Now, if you're finding you've got problems with countable and uncountable nouns, make sure you go to the grammar review. There's a whole section on that. So you can review your countable and uncountable nouns. The other thing that we've got for review is the difference with how much. So when I'm looking at your amount, we have different ways of saying different amounts. So if we're looking at the 0 amount, so none or negative or an unknown amount, these are the phrases I would use. When I go for a small amount, this is my group. Medium, I can use several or some. Bigger amounts, I've got lots more choices again. Then we have the extra category of 100%. Now, this means I have what I need. I have the amount required. So this would mean enough or all. So I have enough food. I have enough water. I have all of the food I need. So this means maximum amount has been reached. But there's an extra phrase that is bigger than this, and this is plenty. So if I say I have plenty of water, this means I have more water than the amount needed. So if I needed 1 liter and I have 2 liters, then I have more water than I need. So that means I have plenty of. Prasanna, I'm not sure why you can't see my screen, because from what I can see of what's being broadcast to YouTube, it is still showing up. But let me just try sharing it again and make sure you guys can still see it. That should be the one that we're looking at. Hopefully that is what we're looking for. And I can't really zoom in any more than this. This is as good as I can get it for today, but we're also out of time. So what I want you guys to do is actually come back and try this lesson yourself. This way you can come and look at that whole table in a little bit more detail and with a bit more time. Arish is asking, is there another session tomorrow? No. No, the next class is on Friday. It's always Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So make sure you go and have a look at your live class calendar. And if you haven't registered for the one on Friday, yes, click the join register button and you'll be able to join it. So make sure you go and check your account. And yes, Prasanna, the class on Friday is with Amber. And I will be seeing you all next week on Monday. So don't forget to check your times again to make sure you've got the time right for Monday next week, because it might have changed. So what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to just jump ahead and get you the Facebook link so that we can let you guys all go and join the Facebook group so you can chat and try and practice using this. If you come back here, you'll also be able to do, after doing the grammar lesson, there's the speaking activity. So make sure you come back and try it so that you're making sure you're saying all of those sounds correctly, and you can use the record button and record yourself and let the computer analyze your own speech and make sure you're doing a good job as well there. So here, let me find the chat box again. And so here is the link for everyone to go and join the Facebook group. So click on that. Make sure you, when you click join group, move down the box and answer all the questions. The last question is group rules. You have to tick yes to be able to join the group. Prasanna, I'm really sorry, we don't have a WhatsApp link. WhatsApp is not as easy for us to moderate as the Facebook option. So that's why we've gone with Facebook for the moment. So WhatsApp won't be something that we're adding it anytime in the future. However, what you can do is by joining and connecting on the Facebook option, you guys can maybe share your own details, and maybe if you don't want to chat using Facebook, you can do a chat and create your own WhatsApp group. So for everyone else, I've got a few questions I just want to go back to, but if anyone else has another question, please type it and add it to the chat box and I'll try and get to that. So let me go back a little bit in time. And I had the first question from Prince says, how much water do you like to drink in a day? Great question. That's a really nice use of how much. Darren says, do you think using only so is considered as a quantifier? For example, she's so pretty. Technically, it's not a quantifier in this case. It's more of, oh, my mind's just gone blank. I can't think of the word, but it's the one where you're using an adjective intensifier. That's the word. You're using an adjective to increase another adjective. So you've got these adverbs like very or really, where you can intensify something, or maybe the opposite of increasing, you can reduce it as well. So and TOO are that kind of group. So she's so pretty, she's too pretty, she's really pretty, all of those would work there. So that's the category of increasing or decreasing an adjective. So those are definitely a good option as well. Prasanna says there are so many words we need to learn. Oh, this is so true. Unfortunately, I think this is the hardest part about English. The more you learn English, the more you realize you need to learn more words. The basic idea is you could just use one of those phrases, one of the basic phrases from each group. That would be okay. It's not a problem. People will understand you. It's might cause you a problem when you listen or read, because people might use other quantifiers and you might not understand them if you haven't learnt them. But if you're wanting to focus on tests with English, you're usually needing to show that you have a wider variety of vocabulary. So this is where using different quantifiers that mean the same thing can be a great technique. Okay, my next comment is from Prince about Darren's question about so. Prince, you've got it right. So means very, exactly. So you could switch so to this idea of very. So it means it's increasing it. If you used to, T-O-O, it would be decreasing it. So good work there. And so thank you everyone for the comments. This is great. And I'm glad you enjoyed the class today. And yes, Prince, you're right. Practice is the only key. At the end of the day, the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get, the more of a habit you'll get, and the easier it will be. So I would just recommend writing lots and lots of sentences where you're using quantifiers and try them all out. Baby C is asking a really specific question about IELTS, and I'm really sorry, I'm not an expert on IELTS. You really do need to go over to E2 language. That's what they focus on. The difference between a band 6.5 and a 7, this is what they work on all the time. So please, please, please go over and ask them there. They will be much, much better at it than me. And that looks pretty good so far. I think I've got all the questions so far. And I just want to make an extra comment for the YouTube people. Good work. And Pratika, I love your sentence that you've given us on in the chat as well. So don't forget, if you're joining us on YouTube, I do get to see your comments as well. So as I said, that's it for me today. So I would definitely recommend come back and do the writing, the speaking, and the grammar. So go into the grammar section and do the quantifiers lesson. But if you're finding that you're having trouble with these quantifiers, you might want to go to the grammar review course. Make sure you add that to your account. It is free. And in the grammar review course, there are quite a few things you can use. There is the category of nouns. So you can practice singular and plural. You can practice countable and uncountable. And there's the quantifiers there. So you'll be able to review those again. That's pretty much it from me for today. And so as everyone said, the next class is on Friday with Amber. So I hope you join her on Friday. Make sure you check your links again to make sure you've registered. It might have changed. But the big one is make sure you check the times for next week's classes, and I will see you all on Monday. So have a lovely weekend and stay safe.